Hi, in this video we'll be primarily discussing about the helping verbs or the auxiliary verbs. I'm pretty sure you must have gone through the other sections of verbs like transitive verbs, intransitive verbs and the linking verbs. There are separate videos for all these verbs. If you haven't gone through them, you can go through those videos after this video. In this video, we'll be primarily focusing on auxiliary verbs. What are auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs or helping verbs help main verbs to form sentences. I may go there. He is visiting Delhi. So here, may is the auxiliary verb which is helping the main verb go to make a complete sense of the sentence. He is visiting Delhi. Is again the auxiliary verb which is helping the main verb visiting to make the complete sentence. Helping verbs are actually not true verbs except when some of them, for example, be, do, have and their forms, need, used to and dare, are used as main verbs. We can further classify helping verbs and or auxiliary verbs under three broader headings like primary auxiliary verb, modals, and semi-modals or marginal modals. Primary auxiliary verbs are be and its form, been, being, am, are, is, was, were, have and its form, has and had, do and its form, does and did. Modals are 10 in number. You can note them down: can, could, may, might, shall, will, would, should, must, ought to. Semi-modals are need, used to and dare. You can also note down a few guidelines. Modal verbs never act as main verbs. Modal verbs never act as main verbs. They only function as helping verbs. Whereas marginal modal auxiliaries like semi-modal or semi-modals in short can themselves act as main verbs like the primary auxiliary verbs. So they are kind of a little similar. You can also note down that a sentence cannot have more than 3 helping verbs for a main verb. For instance, the dog must have been chasing the cat. We can write it down here. The dog must have been chasing the cat. Must have been. We cannot have more than 3 helping verbs for a main verb. 1, 2 and 3, and this is the main verb. The primary auxiliary verbs besides helping main verbs can themselves act as main verbs. I have a car. He did his job. So here have is acting as the main verb. Here did is acting as the main verb, and both these auxiliary verbs fall into the category of primary auxiliary verbs. Please note down one sentence. I teach English. Not every sentence has a helping verb with a main verb. For example, here in this case, teach does not have a main verb. Teach is the main verb and it does not have any helping verb. Teach would fall into the category of main verb, action verb, and further transitive. A helping verb comes before the main verb. A helping verb cannot appear alone in the sentence unless it is acting as a main verb. So I think so we have already done this earlier also, but in case if you want to write down these guidelines, you can pause the video and take note of this. Do watch the other videos. Thanks a lot.